Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Wednesday. It's October 19th. This will be our chart lesson today. And so this is my second Wednesday in a row because I thought yesterday was Wednesday. So hopefully you saw my comment on the video that I put up that I was mistaken on the day, so I'm trying to get out of here too early. I don't know what it's been Wednesday all week for me. This has been a crazy week for me. But anyway, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm going to run through this quicker than normal because I'm limited on time today and I want to get this done and get it up. And then I am going to take tomorrow and Friday off. So I apologize for rushing this today, but it's just going to have to be the way it is. But here's our day today. We traded way down and we've rallied off those lows. Still a fairly negative day today, kind of a range day that went lower and came back inside the range. So um, we could go higher now. We could shoot another leg up. We'll just have to see. But at this point, it looks pretty bearish, and we are closing below that midline there. You can see, and we can't really even get up to the green line on this. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. I won't be here, but you guys will. I would expect that we may continue to kind of chop sideways or go lower here, but we could shoot back up. So you just have to see how tomorrow opens up and what the day looks like. But let's flip over and go through the trades. And unfortunately, I'm going to move quickly and just so you can see the trades, and then I'll wrap this up. Okay, and here's what the day looks like. And you can see there's probably still 10 or 15 minutes left in the day. We haven't closed yet. You can see that here. Here's the range. We couldn't even fill the gap today, so that kind of worries me that we're probably going to go lower. That leads me to believe the market's not too strong. We don't quite have a measured leg down. Of course, this thing could shoot down at the last minute. I don't see that happening. It looks like we're trending up here. I didn't draw any lower trend channels, but it looks like there's one working up here. So my guess is we're not going to go lower. We're actually going to probably work higher here. Or seeing what time it is, with only 10 minutes, we're probably just going to chop sideways is what I would expect. So anyway, there it is. You can see the range, and we just chopped around in the lower half of this and kind of trended. It looked like we basically made two legs down, although we didn't get a measured leg. You can see that we actually had two measured legs early on from this leg and this leg. They were perfect, and then it looked like we were going to make another measured leg equal to both. All really that entire move down, and we didn't quite make it. So that's that's kind of how it played out. But let's zoom in here, go through these trades. There's quite a few of them, so I'm going to move quickly. Like I said, I'm not going to go into a lot of details on any of them, and I apologize, but um, we'll make it up to you next time. Okay, let's zoom on in here. We'll go through these trades. Um, you can clearly see we were working down here. Um, we had a break here. There's actually two legs up, and there's a first entry, second entry. Second entry, fairly decent bar and a pretty strong move right off the trend line. First break, and you'd expect prices to at least make a new low right there. So that turns out to be a pretty good move down. We actually make two legs. It looks like we're going to maybe continue to go lower there. At first, I was wondering if maybe there's this flatter trend line here, but notice that you get another new low and you go first entry, second entry. That's a little congested right there. It's still a second entry in a market that's still trending lower and still it hasn't even pushed through the EMA yet. It couldn't even close to it right there. So you may take that trade as long as there's room to get out, but before this low. So I marked it green, but it's real close. You could argue for it to maybe be even red. It bounces. We're kind of working sideways. It falls out, or breaks out and fails. Comes right back in and stays in. Then it breaks out, and notice how we try to go. Notice there's a new low here. It tries to go lower once, twice, and that does kind of confirm that trend line. And you get a double test of the breakout area, and it's looking like this may be a range at this point. So I like going long right there. I don't see anything else you can take up through here until we get up here. Notice how um, far away we are from the EMA. We've been away since way down here, and you try to go higher once, twice, three times. So there's a triple test there. It's also a lower high. It's also a lower high, and prices are way away from the EMA, and it drops right there. Goes straight on through, pulls back, double test right there. That's a second entry short. This is an engulfing bar. I think you could trade this either way on the engulfing bar or, but since there's a little bit of sideways, I'd probably wait for it to close, and it still closes, in my opinion, below its 1/3. So I think you can go short right there. Okay, so yeah, there's a failure right there. Notice this is basically a double top, first entry, second entry. I like going short there. Drops on down. There's a hidden second entry right here. It's a little sideways. You may even call that a failed breakout. There's a hidden second entry. Maybe you take that one. Then you get a true second entry, but the signal bar is not very good. But then you get a lower high here. Um, Again, I think you're okay. I don't I don't know if I'd take this on the engulfing bar because it's right into those lows. But when it closes down here, if it breaks below that, it's probably going to drop down and test this other low. So you can probably take that one just on the basis of how bearish that is. Again, I don't know that I'd take it on the engulfing bar. You're probably okay because you could really argue that's a first entry, second entry failure too. So there's a couple of different reasons. I marked it green, but there's a couple of different reasons you could take that trade. If you want to be really brave, you might even take this one. I'll talk about this a lot. That these are aggressive. You're trying to pick bottoms, but you do have a close outside the new low, and you're way away from the EMA. This is also uh, could be considered a second entry. So maybe you take that. It doesn't end up being anything to it. It takes, it ends up going higher, but it's not one of these that takes off and you catch the low of the day. You're probably not going to get a runner on this because it looks like it's trending all the way back down again. So, anyway, it runs up. You got your channel here. You get a close outside, move to a new high. It turns down. You try to go higher once, twice. So there's a failure. If it breaks lower right there, it's going to act like a trap. You at least get a scalp out of it, and it could continue lower. Unfortunately, it just makes a new low, completes this little short-term channel here, and then we got one working up. And you can see here, you try to go, you run up straight through the EMA, pull back once, pull up again, pull back twice. That's a failure. It also confirms that trend line on the green trend. I like going long there. And it runs up, and then we just start working sideways. There is a triple test right there, but we don't have a new high here. So even though that works, I don't think you want to take that one. But when it bottoms out there and comes back and pulls back and bounces right off the previous resistance and turns up, I like trading that one on the engulfing bar. But if it breaks above this, it's probably going higher. So maybe you even still take it up here too. And it turns out to be a really nice move. And you're working back. There's a hidden second entry right there. I wouldn't take that. The signal bar is not quite good enough. It's a higher low, but it never breaks lower. It's just an inside bar. I don't think you can take that. And it runs on up. This is too congested here. There's a second entry right there, but you can't take that. It's too far away from the EMA. And then suddenly you get the break, move to a new high. You actually make a little double top there. Nothing that you can trade though. Drops down, comes back. And this is a convoluted second entry, but you don't really have this trend line confirmed. And this thing could break lower and turn back up on you. It just kind of looks like one leg up. And I mean, there's technically a little two-legged jog there, but I wouldn't take that trade. Drops on down, then you get two legs up and you get a true second entry. And look at that signal bar, confirms that trend line. That's where you want to go short. Comes down here, and then you get another little two-legged jog back, right back. This is a double bottom, so first entry, second entry, another great signal bar right at the key entry point. And finally you get a break here. There's technically a second entry here, but if you draw this trend line, it looks like you're in the fact that this is above the key entry point, and there's really a more short-term one there even too, like so. So I don't see any way to take that trade right there just yet. I'm not even sure if it works. I don't think there's enough room there. You can see there's 1 point there, so you're going to get stopped out on that. But you can see you really can't. Technically, you can. There's a no body bar. a bar right beside it and a bar right beside that, pretty much. And this one doesn't go higher. It's an inside bar. It's another kind of strike against it. So there's several reasons to warnings there to stay out of that trade. Because if you took it, you got burned. It runs on up, and you get a close outside, 2 legs down. That's actually a second entry long right there. I didn't mark that one, but that's another one you could take right there. I'll mark it green. But it runs back up, makes the new high, and then you really have a triple test there. So I like going short. Just try to ride it back to the EMA at very little, and you may catch another leg down here because we should be going back down to test this low. Lower high here, but you can't take that. Runs down, you get a close outside. It's just a first entry. This is really your signal bar, no trade there. And once it makes a new low, you got a trend working up. And this is not really drawn exactly right. This should look more like this. And you get a close outside and moving a new high. Technically, that just looks like the first close outside, drops down and bounces. If you it would have just been a first entry short regardless, and it's not even a very good signal bar. So, but notice you run up, and you really get that extra jog up right there. There's 2 legs right here, but that looks like one leg with two legs in it, and then your second leg up, and then you try to go higher once, twice. This is just basically a lower high after making the new high, still way away from the EMA. And look how bearish that is. I wouldn't trade that on the engulfing bar because it looks too sideways, but I wouldn't have any problem going short right there. And that thing drops down pretty quickly. I don't think there's really an overshoot there. I think this is more like so. And it might still be a little bit overshoot. And that's technically 2 legs back, but this would have been your signal bar, so you really couldn't take that anyway. Sometimes, even though you make a slightly lower low here, it's still 2 legs back, and if you get a good setup, you may take it. But if you just wait a second, you get a triple test now with a really good signal bar. I like going short there. There's actually a lower high here too. I didn't mark yet because it looks a little congested by that time, but you know, we're probably going to make this new low here and probably test the original low maybe. So it's probably worth taking. And then of course we run up and you get another first entry, second entry, but I don't like that signal bar. It's a little sideways. Yeah, you could say it's a failed breakout, but there's not much room to the EMA, the lows, and if it's, and you can kind of see the original range right across here. We're kind of back in it, so I just don't think you want to risk that one. Yeah. I'm just trying to color that so it's a little more obvious. And it turns out to be a good move, but I just, again, I don't think you can risk it. And then now we got this trend working down. Get a break outside, you actually try to go higher. One, you make the high, try to go higher once, twice. So it's a triple test. I mean, we've seen several of them already today. I like going short there. You don't know that it's going to do this. I'm just thinking we're going to test this range here, but this thing just takes off. That's a really nice trade there. And we bounce, and we're trying to make a new low on this move here. And technically, this move here is probably the retest of this. So a lot of times I don't even draw a channel on that. I drew it. Sometimes it's helpful to draw it, but a lot of times those won't play out, and this one didn't play out either because they're just retest attempts. And you can see it, although we've got a new low in, and prices are trying to bounce, and they really just don't want to go. I don't see anything in here that I'd want to trade. There is a triple. You could say there's a we try to go higher once, twice, but no setup there. Drops on down, it comes back, and then now you got a triple test right there and a decent bar, and so I like going short on that one. And then it bounces again, and This is a good example of why you usually want to wait on a lower high, because we made a higher high than these last couple of swings here. It could push up one more time, even if it's going to go lower. This one doesn't even end up going lower. It's just a short trap. So, and there is some congestion there. It runs on up. I don't see any longs here that I like, to be honest with you. And we actually get a little bit of an overshoot here. And then now here's another. This looks almost exactly like this one, but here you get a lower high. And you can see you get a little more information there. And that's really all this is a failed breakout, or it's a retest of the lows. And you can see we found resistance there a couple of times, and then it fails. And so you're really expecting prices to come to here. That's kind of your target. It could go lower, which it does. Doesn't go a whole lot lower. It may be just about a measured move. Let's just look. And you can see it goes about a measured move, a little further, and then we're headed higher again. Now, I marked this one too, because it looked like we were going to at least come back to this trend line. And you can see there's a new low there, first entry, second entry. So I marked that one, and of course it does. It bounces right off the trend line, but you don't get a setup there. And I didn't see anything else in here I really liked all the way up. And it's really dangerous coming down here. If that had a close on its low and had plenty of room to the EMA, maybe you take that one, but that doesn't happen, unfortunately. So that takes us into 230, and I just didn't see anything else I really liked there. And you can see we did get a little crazy there right at the close. So, but there it is. So I know I went through that really quickly today, but again, I apologize. But I hope y'all have a good rest of the week. I really am taking off tomorrow and Friday this time, and I believe today really is Wednesday. I'm just going to double check my calendar again, because I've done this. Seemed like I've had Wednesday 3 times this week. I don't know what the deal is, but anyway, that's the way I saw it today. I'm going to wrap it up. I'll see you next week, Monday. I won't be around tomorrow. No mid-morning charts tomorrow or Friday. And obviously no YouTube lesson Thursday or Friday either. So I don't do them on Friday anyway, and I'm not going to do one tomorrow because I'm going to take the day off. But anyway, I hope you had a good trading day. I hope you finish out the week well. Good trades to everybody. I'll see you Monday. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com.